Did you know that Talking Taiwan is the only independently produced
Taiwanese American English language podcast that deals with news and politics related to Taiwan
in the entire world?
Not to mention the longest running Taiwan-related podcast going on 10 plus years. Hi, I'm Felicia Lin, the producer and host of the Talking Taiwan podcast.
I'm Kaju Roberto, the producer, sound engineer, and editor for Talking Taiwan. We covered Taiwan's early COVID response.
And I interviewed professional baseball sportscaster Richard Wang about how Taiwan was at one time the only place in the world where professional ball games were being played.
Nearly 4 years ago, we covered Taiwan's 2020 presidential election.
And then when there was an alarming increase in China's incursions into Taiwan's ADIZ space, we covered that too.
That was my suggestion.
Yes, and that episode ended up being in the top 5 episodes for that year.
When the invasion of Ukraine prompted an increased interest in civil defense in Taiwan, we covered that. It's been a full-time job producing weekly shows.
We've been able to interview all sorts of notable guests. We haven't been back to Taiwan since before the pandemic, so we haven't had a chance to meet our Taiwan-based guests.
Well, now that Taiwan's presidential election is less than 1 month away, we thought this would be a good time to return to Taiwan to cover the presidential election.
And meet some of our guests in person for the very first time.
Like Courtney Donovan Smith, who will be meeting for the very first time in Taichung. We've already enlisted him to do some special election coverage episodes with us.
He's going to be sharing his analysis of the first presidential debate on December 30th.
And then there'll be more before and after analysis on the day of the election on January 13th.
I'm also going to be casting my vote in Kaohsiung.
So we'll be taking the show on the road to the 3 major cities in Taiwan.
We're looking forward to doing some in-person interviews with some of our most popular past guests.
This means we'll be traveling around with our recording equipment.
To make all of this happen, we're going to have to be doing some fundraising to cover all of our expenses.
Everything is set, but we could use some help with our expenses.
And some support in producing election coverage episodes. Actually, I'd like to produce some episodes about Kaohsiung while I'm down there.
If you donate now, it will be doubled.
That's right, and thanks to a matching donation offered by Patrick Wang, the first 5,000 donated will be doubled to 10,000.
And if you're in Taiwan at the same time we are,
we'll invite you to one of 2 in-person gatherings being planned for us.
One at the Peak Collage office, thanks to John Fan.
And another gathering held at 4SC CrossFit's Hsin-Tai branch, thanks to THE.
To get invited, just make a donation on PayPal or Zelle and use our email address, talkingtaiwanpodcast@gmail.com.
You can also support us on Patreon or by check. Just go to talkingtaiwan.com/support.
So what are you waiting for?
Help us raise the money to get the show on the road.